In the harsh, unforgiving wilderness of Alaska, where blizzards swirl and the icy cold bites at the bone, a remarkable story of courage, endurance, and loyalty unfolded. A story not of man, but of a dog whose name would be remembered forever. This is a tale of a dog's courage, a sled dog who led a team to victory, braving treacherous conditions to save an entire town from a deadly epidemic. It is a story of heroism, of sacrifice, and of the bond between man and beast that transcends the boundaries of ordinary life. This is the heartwarming story of Balto. Our story begins in the small town of Nome, Alaska, in the winter of 1925. Nome, a remote settlement on the edge of the world, was struck by a devastating outbreak of diphtheria. The disease, deadly and fast-spreading, threatened to ravage the town, leaving its people helpless. With no other means of delivering the crucial antitoxin to the isolated community, the town's only hope lay in a heroic rescue operation, an operation that would depend on a relay of sled dogs to brave the elements and cover nearly 700 miles across frozen wilderness. In the midst of this crisis, a team of sled dogs was assembled for what would become one of the most daring and historic journeys ever undertaken. Among these dogs, there was one whose name would come to symbolize the very essence of bravery and leadership. His name was Balto, a Siberian husky with a coat of thick gray and white fur, and eyes that gleamed with intelligence and determination. But it wasn't just his strength that made him stand out. It was his unshakable courage in the face of unimaginable challenges. The mission to deliver the life-saving antitoxin was fraught with peril. The journey would take the sled teams across vast stretches of ice and snow, through blinding snowstorms and freezing winds, with temperatures plunging to -50 degrees Fahrenheit. The dogs, tough and resilient, would carry the precious cargo on their backs, while their drivers, seasoned mushers, would lead them across the treacherous terrain. But with the clock ticking and the town's survival at stake, there was no time to waste. The relay of dog teams was launched, and the race to save Nome had begun. As the teams made their way across the barren landscape, the conditions grew worse. A fierce blizzard descended upon them, reducing visibility to near zero and making travel nearly impossible. The winds howled like wolves, and the temperature plummeted further, freezing fingers and toes, numbing bodies, and testing the very limits of endurance. Yet, despite the storm's fury, the sled dogs pushed on, driven by their instinct to follow their musher and complete their mission. Among them, Balto was the leader. He was not the largest or the strongest of the dogs, but his steady resolve and sharp instincts set him apart. As the other teams faltered and struggled in the blinding snow, Balto remained calm and focused. Time and time again, he navigated through the storm, guiding his team through the swirling white chaos. His determination was unwavering, his sense of direction perfect, even as the storm raged on. At one point, the lead dog and his team were so disoriented that it seemed impossible for them to continue. The mushers had become lost, and the antitoxin was perilously close to being lost as well. But Balto, through sheer instinct, pushed forward. He led his team through the blizzard, his keen sense of smell and the rhythm of his paw beats guiding him, even when all around him seemed a blur of white. It was said that Balto's eyes, glowing with determination, were the only thing that could be seen through the storm. As the night wore on and the storm refused to relent, Balto's team neared the town of Nome. The desperate hope of the people was palpable, and yet the team's progress was slow. Their bodies were exhausted, their spirits drained, but they could not stop. They were so close, so incredibly close. With a final surge of energy, Balto led his team into Nome's outskirts, where he was met with a raucous and emotional welcome. At long last, Balto and his team had completed their extraordinary journey. The antitoxin had arrived. The people of Nome, their lives hanging in the balance, erupted in joy and relief. But it wasn't just the humans who celebrated. The dogs, their fur caked with snow and their paws raw from the journey, were greeted as heroes. Balto, the dog who had led them through the darkest hours, was hailed as the savior of the town. His story would become legendary. In the days that followed, the people of Nome continued to honor the sled dog team for their incredible feat. Balto was celebrated not just as a dog, but as a symbol of the strength and resilience that defines the spirit of the North. And though many of the other dogs and mushers were crucial to the success of the mission, it was Balto who captured the public's imagination. He became an enduring symbol of heroism, a dog whose courage transcended the limits of his species. Balto's fame extended far beyond the remote corners of Alaska. His story spread across the globe, captivating the hearts of millions. Books, films, and documentaries have all retold the tale of the brave sled dog, and the spirit of his courage continues to inspire. The dramatic story of Balto is not just the story of a dog. It is the story of the extraordinary bond between humans and animals, of the lengths to which these creatures will go to protect and serve. It is a tale of heroism, of bravery in the face of adversity, and of a journey that will never be forgotten. Balto may have been a dog, but in the eyes of those he saved, he was nothing less than a hero. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution.